All right, I want to welcome everyone in this evening, and those that are joining us by live stream. Glad to have you in this evening for our Bible study. If you want to find your place there in Revelation chapter 9, we'll get there here in a moment. We'll be at least getting to the fifth trumpet that we see here, and moving on from that. Not sure exactly how far we'll get, but there's a lot of exciting things are transpiring, and we'll get into that in a moment. But first of all, hopefully you got the updated prayer list that was sent out this morning. If you didn't get a copy of, or if you didn't get that on the email, if you'd like a hard copy, we have those up on the front table. That way we can continue to lift up those in prayer that need our prayers. Up to see Frank Gordon right before lunchtime today, and his surgery went well that he had on Monday on his back. And but it's just going to be a little bit of a process coming through that. He was sitting up in a chair today when Phil and I was there with him, and he was his lovely self, you know, always cracking jokes and being funny, and it was good to spend a little bit of time with him. And he's hoping to be able to go home on Friday. That was kind of the projected time. They've been getting him up a little bit and beginning that process, but still in quite a bit of pain. So just pray for his recovery, that it'll be a speedy recovery. And then Don Bond went from the hospital to the rehab yesterday, but then come to find out, Nancy and Ken just filled me in that they went on home today. So, but he's still got a long journey to go as well, and hopefully he will begin to do the things that he needs to do at home. So just be praying for him and Mary and his continued recovery. Of course, he will be doing dialysis at least 3 times a week, possibly maybe more, just to continue to get the fluid off of his body. Robin?
I have a classmate that's 59 years old. He has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and the cancer is creating tons of blood clots. So they can't do anything on him because of the blood clots. So we just need to pray that God will stop the blood clots so they can actually do something to stop the cancer. But the blood clots is probably what's going to kill him. So his name is Steve.
Steve, okay,
He's
so remember.
59 years old. It just makes reality really clear when you realize, wow, you know.
So remember Robin's classmate from high school, Steve. Then also continue to pray for Robin Adams' brother Rusty, just battling cancer. Of course, we mentioned last week that he was in hospice, but he, you know, has had some good days over the last 4 or 5 days, and the best way to pray is for God's will. We don't know what God has, but we want His will to be done in that, whether it's to take him on to be with the Lord, or if God still has some purpose for Rusty, we want that as well. So just pray for God's will to be done, and just pray for that family as they go that journey. That's very difficult. Many of you understand that. Many of you have been through it. So we want to make sure we lift them up and pray. All right, Revelation 9. Revelation chapter 9. We there in chapter 8 last week, we saw that the 7 trumpets were the last seal was opened up, which started the 7 trumpets. We saw the first 4 trumpets last week, and then as we wrapped up chapter 8, we saw a warning by an angel that was flying through the midst of heaven. Okay, so we've got the 4 trumpets and the judgments that came with those, and then all of a sudden now we have this angel that's flying through the midst of heaven. Chapter 8, verse 13, it says, "And I looked," John, of course, "and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the remaining blast of the trumpets of the three angels who are about to sound. So these woes are significant. That means things are even ramping up that much more in regards to the judgments, in regards to what is getting ready to happen on earth. So, it's like, okay, guys, you think those four are bad? Hey, you better get ready. You better just look out, because here it comes. So this marks one of the deepest and darkest and most painful and the most intense of this great tribulation period is about to begin. When he said the woes, that means, okay, you better get ready, because here it's coming. Now, these things that we're getting ready to talk about are going to be taking place toward the latter part of that first 3.5 years, possibly carrying over into the second half of the second 3.5 years. All right, so realize, as I've stated numerous times, that what we're reading here doesn't go step by step by step. It overlaps. The judgments that we're seeing overlap in time period, okay? So it's just not like, okay, here's these first judgments that we had, the seal judgments. They end, and then boom, we go right into the trumpets, and then right into the bowl judgments. No, they kind of overlap somewhat as we're looking at this time period that started even early on in the first half of the tribulation. We see that this just continues to build. And we're going to see how it intensifies tonight. This is some of the blackest days that there ever will be on the earth. Some of the blackest that we're getting ready to see. So understand that now as we move in to chapter 9. All right, we're going to go ahead and read now. If anyone like to read for us tonight as we start here. All right, Cheryl, if you'll read the first 6 verses, and then Dan, you pick up in verse 7 and go down to verse 12. We're just going to read up to verse 12 to start with, and then we'll see where we get to tonight. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven, which had fallen to the earth. And the key of the bottomless pit was given to him. He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke went up out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth, and power was given them as the scorpions of the earth have power. They were told not to hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only the men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not permitted to kill anyone, but to torment for 5 months. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings a man. And in those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, and death flees from them.
The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like a crown of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Their hair was like woman's hair, and their teeth were like lion's teeth. They had breastplates like the breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. They had tails and stings like scorpions, and their tails, they had the power to torment people for 5 months. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abandon, and in Greek, Apollyon.
Go ahead and read verse 12 too.
The first woe is past. 2 more other woes are yet to come.
Okay, so the blast of this fifth trumpet takes place, and we see that an army from the pit